In Creo Parametric, you can define the CNC manufacturing for turning on a lathe. Here I have a part that I want to machine. You can see that it is rotational in nature. Let's take a look at an overview of this process, and I will caution you that I am not an expert in turning, so if you see me use some unrealistic numbers or doing something that doesn't seem to make sense, again, I'm just providing an overview of the process. Anyhow, let's start by creating our manufacturing model. I will go to the new icon in the quick access toolbar. It is also the keyboard shortcut, Control N. This opens up the new dialog box. By default, it is set to part. I'm going to change to manufacturing. And then for the subtype, I'm going to leave it as NC assembly. You can change the file name if you want. You can enter in a common name. And I'm going to uncheck Use Default Template. Then I will click the OK button. This opens up the new File Options dialog box. The template for inch pounds is set by default. I want to use the metric system, and so I'm going to select the template for millimeters, manufacturing, NC with absolute accuracy. Now I will click the OK button. Here I am in my new manufacturing model. It has some default datum planes and a default coordinate system. For my next step, I'm going to start off by defining my work center. If I go to the drop-down list, I can choose lathe from the list of choices. And then in the lathe work center, you can change the name and the type and the post processor, all this other different information. But for what I am doing here, I'm going to leave everything at the defaults and then click the OK button. And then for my next step, I'm going to define the operation. Be aware that you can do things in different order, like you could add your reference model next and then define the workpiece. But again, I want to go and define my operation. And when I do that, it brings up the dashboard. It's got my work center listed. And for the first thing, I'm going to bring in my fixture. I will click on the Fixture Setup tab. Right now, there is no setup. And then by clicking on this icon, I can add a fixture component. Be aware that a fixture component is not required, but it can help if you want to check later on for gouging. So I'm going to select this assembly that I want to use. And then for locating it, let me see, I'm going to move everything over. I'm going to turn off the display of my planes and annotations while I'm at it. Then I'm going to pick a couple of coordinate systems. I want to make sure that the coordinate system of my assembly is aligned with the coordinate system of my NC model. So I will pick that one. Picking the other one, right now the 3D dragger is in the way, so I'm going to turn off the display of the dragger, and then I'm going to grab the assembly coordinate system. That way I know it is aligned. It changes color because it is fully constrained. And I'm going to turn the display dragger back on. If I don't do that, it's not going to be visible when I add my component. And I can always turn it on later. But anyhow, I will hit the check mark. And so now I've got my fixture in the model. Next, I'm going to define my program 0. And so I can select a coordinate system. I don't want to use one of the coordinate systems that I currently have. I want to create one that's off at the front of the fixture. If you go to the right-hand side of the dashboard, you can create datums. And so I will create a new coordinate system. And I'm going to base this coordinate system off of the existing manufacturing model default coordinate system. And so I'm just going to pick it right out of the model tree. It is easier. And then to relocate, I can drag it. I've moved my mouse over the horizontal axis and I'm dragging it out. And this one should be out at a distance of 127. So I double click on the value and enter it. You can also change the value in the coordinate system dialog box. I also need to rotate it so that my z-axis is pointing out away along the axis of rotation. And so for reorienting this, I can rotate this an angle of 90 degrees. And now it is pointing out. That's good. And so then I can click the OK button. The dashboard is paused because I created a datum, so I will use the play button to resume the dashboard. And that coordinate system that I created is automatically listed as the program 0. And then I'm going to click on the clearance tab. I'm going to define my clearance by using a plane. So I will choose that from the drop-down list. For the reference, I will select that new coordinate system I just created, and then we can drag it out. We can double click on the dimension to change the value, make it a nice big value. Some people might complain that I'm using too big a value, but that's okay. All right, and I don't have to define anything else here like home point or parameters or options at this time. Let me hit the check mark. By the way, if you do define a stock material, you can use that for populating some of the parameters in your sequences. But anyhow, I will hit the check mark. My operation is completed. It is listed in the model. And now it is time to bring in my reference model. From the drop-down list, you can assemble an existing model, or you could use inheritance, or you could use merge. I'm just going to assemble the model itself. And so I will click on that. Let me grab the bottle, and then I will reposition it a little bit. And let me just leave it right there so I can see this surface. For assembling it, I will select this flat surface and a surface here. It's trying to use angle offset. Let me change that to coincident. And then let me add in another constraint, and I'll pick the side of the jaw and then the side over here. And so it is fully constrained because we are allowing assumptions. Since the part has rotational symmetry, that is perfectly fine. So everything is good for placing the component. I will hit the check mark. I get a warning that it is automatically changing the absolute accuracy. This is good. I will click the OK button. Now we have the component placed. And so let's see, for the next step, I'm going to add in a workpiece. And if you take a look at the model right now, there's a little bit of a gap between the reference model and the fixture. And that's because right now the reference part is not the same diameter as like a standard stock size. And so let's go about defining a workpiece. You can use an automatic workpiece. You can assemble an existing workpiece, or you can inherit, merge, or create one. I'm going to use the automatic workpiece option. That's very convenient. And right now we are getting a block. That is clearly not what I want to use. Let's go to the dashboard and change the workpiece type from rectangular to round. That is looking better. And I'm going to open up the options tab. Right now the diameter is set to the diameter of the part, but I'm going to change this to a value of the stock size that I have. And let's see, also for adjusting this, maybe I want the workpiece to be a little bit more in this direction so that it can actually be held by the fixture. Let me go to the placement tab. Rather than using the bottle's reference coordinate system, let me remove that, and instead I'm going to use this coordinate system. Let me go back to the options tab and change my diameter back to 70. And let's see, I can try playing around with the offsets. And so the offsets, I think I want a negative offset. Let's try 10 so it extends in. That's good. And I'll leave it 0 so that it corresponds to the end of the part. I will hit the check mark. And so now you can see in a transparent color that we have our workpiece and then the actual reference model inside of it. Let me unclutter the screen by turning off the coordinate systems. And then for the next step, let me define some cutting tools. I don't have to do that at this point, but I'm going to. Let me click on the cutting tools icon. And so first off, you can configure a cutting tool. And so here are some different values that you can change. But for the sake of this demo, I'm going to use these different values. You could change the tool name if you want. The type is good. It's set to turning. I will leave that. And so in order to make this as a tool, I will click the Apply button. You can also use existing solid models as tools. So let me bring in a couple of those. Let me go to the File drop-down menu, and then I'll choose Open Tool Library, and then by reference. And then let me go to, this is my standard tools directory. My working directory, I have a part that I can use, so I'll double click on it. It has got a family table, and so I'm going to choose, let's choose this one. Oh, which one do I want? I want to use, let's use the one with the smaller and along the Z-axis. That's good. Let me click the open button. And so now I have another tool, and it populated some different values, and it even has a preview of the model. This one goes along the Z-axis. I'm going to bring in another one that goes along the X-axis for the model. Let's go to File, Open Tool Library, by reference. And once again, let me go back to my working directory and select an existing solid part. And let me use this one and click the Open button. And so the values are the same, but when I place it, it'll be moving along or oriented along the X-axis of my manufacturing model. So this is good. 3 different tools, and that way I can switch between them to show you in the playing of the tool path. Let me click the OK button. And so now that I've set everything up, let me go over to the Turn tab. Beware that the Turn tab was not available until I created my work center, and that way this one came up. I can create some reference geometry to define where I want my toolpath to go. And so for doing that, I will click on the Turn Profile command. This opens up a dialog box. For the reference coordinate system, I'm going to use my machine 0. You can see a preview of where it's being created in the, let's see, let's go to the, what do I want to, oh, I'm going to change this from make envelope to surfaces. That's more what I want to use. Okay, so I've got my reference coordinate system. For the surfaces, I'll have it start at the beginning. Let me zoom in and select this surface for the start. And then I'll hold down the Control key and then select this other surface from the reference model. And now you can see where it is going to proceed along and the direction of material that will be removed. Very nice and quick way to define what I want to machine. So I will click the check mark in order to complete that. With the turn profile still selected, I'm going to jump into one of my types of toolpaths. Let me go into profile turning, which is great for this situation. And let's see, let me start out by changing the tool, and I'll start off by using the first tool that I created. And no, I'm not going to update the parameters by copying them from the tool. I don't think I defined any parameters. Let me punch in some different values. So for example, the cut feed will be 250. And let's see, for the spindle speed, I'm going to use a different value. And then what else do I want to change? I'm going to leave some stock on this. I don't want this to go right to the actual profile with one pass. And so let me use a stock allowance of 2 millimeters. That's good for my different parameters. And I've got my tool selected. Let's see, this is good. I can start to see what this is going to look like. I don't need to change anything else in here, but be aware. Let me pan everything down a little bit. You can change the clearance in here. You can define specific profile motions if you want. And then you can specify information to be populated into ProProcess for NC. But at this point, let's see, I can show the cutting data. I can view the toolpath updated output, but I'm going to go to this one and I'm going to display the toolpath in the graphics window. And so this is that configured tool. And then for the play path, I'm going to crank the speed way down. Otherwise, I'll just go really fast over everything. Then I can hit the play button. You can see the motion as it's going. And I'm suspecting that I'm going to have a little bit of collision with my tool and the actual part that I want to have remaining after that. And so that is good. Let me close out of here. And let's say that initially I'm happy with this. I will hit the check mark for my toolpath, but then let's take a look at some of the other different tools. I can right mouse click on the toolpath in the model tree, and then let's see, we have a few different icons. So for example, I can change the parameters if I want. So for example, let me change this. Maybe I want to leave a little bit more of stock allowance on there, and then click the OK button. And then I can also right mouse click on it. And then this icon allows me to change the tool that I'm using. Let me change over to this tool instead and click the OK button. And then once again, right mouse click on it and go to the play path button. Now you can see that we're using the actual solid model tool and it's oriented this way. And then I can play the path. You can see it's using the different tool instead. And again, I'm like, oh, I probably should not have the tool oriented like that. So once again, let's try using a different tool. I will right click and then edit the step tool and choose the other tool that I brought in. Let's click the OK button. And then again, right click and go to play the path. It recomputed, and here's the tool reoriented. And again, I can play it, and you can see how it is going to follow along the reference model with the specified stock allowance. All right, so now I will close this. And if you're wondering how much material was actually removed, we can go to the manufacturing geometry overflow and then choose material removal cut. It'll list all the different sequences in the model. I've only defined one sequence. And then after I select that sequence, we could construct the material removal manually or just use automatic. I always like automatic. And then for the intersected components, you can automatically add the components, or I can choose the workpiece itself and then click the OK button. And then it computed. And there you can see what would be remaining from the workpiece with the stock allowance. And so there you have it. That is a quick little overview of the manufacturing process. Just to review some of the different things that I did, not in the exact order. I added a reference model. I defined a workpiece. Within the operation, I defined a fixture. I defined a work center and some cutting tools, and also set up the operation for my actual toolpath that I created using some manufacturing geometry. There you have it. I hope you got something out of this video. One last thing to mention, this actual demonstration came from the old Creo 2.0 turning training class offered by PTC. PTC has a lot of good training. Check it out.